again with Mr. Prince Chanda. Sir, welcome to the program.
Good evening, welcome, thank you.
How have you been?
I've been okay, I don't know about you.
Been all right?
Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of things have been going on in the recent past, and I've got so many questions I need to ask you. I hope you're going to give me that humble time. I know, and then I'm aware you're a very good speaker. So my first question is this, because I've been wanting to hear from you, you being a PF member. There is sectionalization in the Tonse Alliance and PF. We have seen new aspiring candidates emerge, and Mr. Mundolo and Honorable Makebi, and we have seen also the acting PF president, given Lubinda, vying for presidents. So in this instance, a lot of people have been, they're in quagmire. They want to know what is going on because PF received 9 applicants, of which paid 200,000 kwacha each. What happens to the newly emerged candidates at this juncture?
Thank you very much. First of all, the number of candidates vying to stand on PF ticket as presidential candidates for 2026 has no bearing to what must happen at the end of the day. Even if there are going to be 100 of them, at the end of the day, it first of all shows that there is so much interest. I don't think there are too many political parties where a lot of people want to be president. Yeah, no. But at the end of the day, your question is specific as to what will happen because we have had 9 candidates that had paid 200,000 each, and of the 9 candidates, I think we can talk about 3. Emmanuel Mwamba is out of the country, the information chairperson.
Okay.
Honorable Kamburi just recently got out of prison, and then Honorable Jibim also got out of prison previously, not too long from now. So we can say those 3, I don't think they are going to continue on that trajectory. Then we have Comrade Mudoro, who has also expressed interest to be a candidate for PF in 2026, should he be elected at a expected general conference to be undertaken by PF. And then we have Honorable Makebi Zulu, and we have the acting president. Yeah, all these candidates are expressing interest. What is supposed to happen, I think, is that the Central Committee should be able to open it up so that other members can pay the 200,000 kwacha, and then they also be able to declare their interest publicly and pay the amount that is needed. So there isn't much to say because a decision can be made. I think if the acting president wants to be president as well, and is the one that chairs the Central Committee meetings, it means there are plans to open it up so that they can also be able to express their interest by way of paying the amount that they set to be paid for candidates. So that's not much of a problem. The other thing you talked about is the Tonse Alliance. There are quite a number of things that are happening in the Tonse Alliance. But I'll tell you one thing about PF, and this is true. PF has always been like that. PF has always thrived in confusion.
Okay.
When you see PF in that state of affair, you should not take it for granted or think that that is the end of it. PF has the resilience to bounce back and get back to the original position when they agree to go and support one particular candidate. When President Sata died, we had a lot of candidates that wanted to be presidents for PF at the convention. Okay. That included also the widow, Madam Christine Kaseva, and the son to Mr. Sata Mulenga Sata. All those vied to be presidents on that ticket. Okay. And a lot of them, I can talk about them, expressed the interest to do so. And they did. We had a scenario where we had actually 2 conventions, the first one that elected President Lungu and the second that elected Mao Sampa.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the 2 factions came together to support the candidature of President Lungu. So there's nothing new about what is going on now. The only thing that maybe will be different is that we haven't yet buried our comrade former president of Zambia. And the delay in putting him to rest has nothing to do with PF or the family, because the day that that body was supposed to be entered, that's the day that the state of Zambia decided to go to court, that they should not, the burial should not take place. And it has been months now where I've seen court cases back and forth.
Oh, yes.
And there is a lot of misconception. People who are very insensitive, they want to attribute that to the family or to the spokesperson.
Yes.
Forgetting that the ones that approached the court is the Republic of Zambia through the Attorney General. When they approached the court through the Attorney General, they objected to the burial in South Africa. Now, when you go to court, the role of a trial judge is not only to convict the guilty, but also to acquit the innocent. So the moment you approach the court, you cannot determine how long the case is going to be, because when you go to court today, you may have a very good point and a very valid argument, but things can come along the way that will change the trajectory of the case that may be protracted. So Zambians must understand that it's not the desire of the family or the PF to have President Lungu still remain in the fridge and buried to this day. It is because the government of the Republic of Zambia, according to the affidavit that were put, they did not want that burial to happen where it was said to happen. So PF cannot just stay aloof, knowing that the one that has gone to court is the opponent. Probably the reason for going to court could be to hold PF, to hold their hands tied, to say we cannot do this because we have not buried our president. So because the move was from the opponent, who is supposed to participate in the election in 2026 like any other person that will emerge in PF, you can also be able to think and realize that the issue of going to court could be to delay the burial so that PF cannot mobilize. That is why you saw conflicting statements, others saying that no, the PF wants to go and seek permission from the former first lady, yes, that we want to go ahead. It was not to seek permission. It was to inform her that to inform the family that President Lungu led this country and led PF. He led this country for 7 years. And he died in pursuit of democracy and the rule of law. That's why he came back to active politics. So now that he cannot be buried so fast because it's a court case, because the government of the Republic of Zambia, if they wanted to have that burial done quickly, they simply would have withdrawn the case. So they are having negotiations while the case is going on in court when they are the ones that sued. So the reason to inform the former First Lady is just to make her understand that we have not neglected the grief of our former president, or we have not abandoned them. We realize that it is also going to be in the interest of his legacy that we fight on the other side and ensure that we win and change the leadership of this country, because that is what he died pursuing, that he should liberate the country and the people that feel disadvantaged by the actions of this regime. So the reason to inform her was just out of respect, because she needed to know. But I'm sure she's aware that what is going on is putting PF in an awkward position and don't say alliance.
Okay, I've been meaning to ask you concerning Honorable Chavinga, him being the PF president. At this juncture, we heard him say PF is not going to hold any convention or anything. So Mr. President Hakainde Hichilema must continue sleeping. Nothing is going to happen. So what do you have to say about that?
You see, I normally don't like to entertain things that have to do with the Honorable Chavinga for one reason. Honorable Chavinga is just a victim of inept leadership around President Hichilema that handles his political issues. If President Hichilema had reasonable political advisors, the trajectory of wanting to use stooges to usurp the PF leadership was not going to be the case. In a game of contest, you do not need to choke your friends in order to feel ahead of them. There is nothing that Chabinga has contributed to UPND because Chabinga has no following. The leadership of PF is known in the hearts of the Zambian people. PF lives in the hearts of the Zambian people. You cannot kill it from the hearts of the Zambian people. There are people who are in PF like myself. I've been in PF from 2005. I was motivated and inspired by the former president, President Satame, so rest in peace. He inculcated the sense of patriotism in us, the sense of belonging each time that we heard him speak. We were feeling PF was our own thing. It's a project of the people. So for some of us, we cannot be swayed by the activities of cantankerous individuals within the party that thinks with their stomach. There are times when a person would embark on a trajectory that is very destructive, that can lead into catastrophic consequences. Because you do not suppress the wishes of the majority Zambians who voted for PF and opted for it to win, and those who are hoping for it to liberate them from the hardships that they are going through. Zambian people are suffering. Now, you have a person like Chabinga, as you are putting it, declaring that PF is not going to have a convention because he's a president. Sometimes, if you can't look at matters to be illegal for what they are, you have to look at the moral integrity of individuals that we call MPs in this country. The moral integrity of the person that is leading the country, Zambia. There is one thing that someone credible enough in the office of political advisor for the president would think about, as opposed to these kind of coup d'etats that are going on in political parties using the registrar of society. First of all, registrar of society is a parastatal. It's a arm of government under Minister of Home Affairs. Minister of Home Affairs is a security wing. It handles all internal security affairs. So to see an institution like the registrar of society to be used for illegal activities like that leaves much to desire. This may not be political failure. This is system failure. Because the government in itself cannot destroy the country while the state is watching. I've always said the powers that the government, the President of the Republic of Zambia exercises, and his cabinet and every other person, are leased to them by the state. The state has overall authority, but it operates through a political entity that is headed by elected officials like the President, the ministers, and MPs. The state is inherent in itself. It can exist without government. So when you see a situation where the government seems to have authority over the state to the extent that criminal undertakings are being done, aided and abetted by the security agencies of this country, leaves much to desire. So yes, Chabinga may say that there will not be a convention, and I will agree with him because he is working with the government of the day, and the police are on his side. If today Chabinga says this meeting is not going to go through, and he calls the police will come running. If the PF call the police to say there is a problem, the police will move at their pace. They will have no fear, they will have no all these things to move to go and protect the citizens who may have different views. But if Chabinga today said there is a convention going on, police should go and stop it, they will rush there and stop it. And the issues of the matters that are in court most of the times are very easy to inconvenience you, because the moment Chabinga cites the matter in court, it is justifiable. When he says you cannot undertake these activities because the cases are the matter is in court, you cannot want to be in contempt, to be found in contempt. Okay? So PF, I believe in my heart of hearts that they are looking forward to a scenario where they are going to navigate the issue of convention by looking at which particular vehicle they are going to use. Because as you are aware, President Lungu, before he died, he picked NCP as a special vehicle where we're going to be electing our officials.
Yes.
And not long ago, the NCP has pulled out of the Tonse Alliance. And then recently, if not the day before yesterday, the president of the party, President Peter Chanda, has announced that he intends to be on the ballot. That creates a very difficult scenario for the Patriotic Front and the Alliance members. But that also should not be something that should give the UPND a sense of feeling like they have gotten away with a lot of things. No. The issue here is that There are reasons why Peter Chanda took the step that he took. I'm sure you read where he cited that a number of PF officials that he tried to put on the NCP as an agreement to actualize that special vehicle where the NCP shouldn't feel like they own that particular party alone when they are in an alliance with other stakeholders like the Patriotic Front. So I think he had given position to 6 individuals. And I think one of those individuals, according to the statement that circulated from the president, from President Chanda, was that they threatened that they were going to take over NCP. They had given him an ultimatum to report to them or they take over the NCP. The Chavinga arrangement was going to happen in the NCP. But luckily, Peter had not included those people on the list of office bearers at registrar. So he just gave them appointment, which were just revoked. So that's how he thwarted that kind of mingalatos that the UPND has introduced on our politics that chokes democracy. And not long ago, we have heard that, a few days ago, that there is a coup d'etat within the Socialist Party.
Socialist Party.
And it's a shameful thing.
Yes.
You see, when you have a country where people who hold instruments of power loses patriotism, where you have state institutions that have the mandate to protect every citizen of this country loses that authority to politicians who do things for self-interest, it is a very shameful thing. When you look at situations that have escalated confusion in other countries, neighboring and everywhere, you find that they are clearly the things that we are experiencing and no one is thinking. Okay? Not long ago, our comrade, PS for Information, Comrade Kawana, threatened the citizens that in 2026, during the elections, the government may be forced to close the internet. That is a permanent secretary, a controlling officer in that particular department, making such a very dangerous and toxic statement. On the other side, he could be meaning well. He may be tired of the regime's behavior, and is alerting us to know that we should be aware that during the election, the internet might be switched off. But what I know is that that statement must not be taken lightly by the opposition. They must take it that it could be a serious consideration because it came from a permanent secretary appointed by the president.
Okay.
That statement has 2 faces. One, Kawana could be trying to alert us to know what is being discussed behind the scene so that we can think twice. We should start thinking of VPN. We should start thinking of internet, satellite internet. And at the end of the day, if for sure the network providers are going to go by that scheme to switch off internet and government changes, they can be sued for that behavior. And that is going to happen. If they dare do that and government changes, it's easy to sue them and ensure that they are punished for that act. Because the Constitution guarantees freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. And the media is one platform where that is actualized.
That's true.
Right here where I'm seated, I'm speaking freely. I'm speaking truth to power. No one is telling me what to say. I am saying things because I'm a citizen of this country. I'm a patriotic citizen of this country. I know what I envision about my country. I know what I want to see in this country, even when I'm gone, that my children must benefit from and my grandchildren. They should be able to live in a country that is peaceful. That is a legacy that we can leave behind as parents, because this freedom that we are enjoying today, people that fought for it, that paid for it, they paid with their blood. Today we are enjoying, you and me are enjoying. Those that lived beyond that were buying things on the window because of the colonial masters who didn't want to associate with people of different color. That happened. Today you cannot, you are mixing. It doesn't matter what color, whether one is yellow, is red, is brown, is black, is green. You are able to go to one supermarket. You are buying as long as you have money. You are walking to any other place. You can go to the gym. You are mixed just like that. That did not just come by surprise. It came by efforts and determines women and men that ensure that we got freedom at independence era. And now where we are today, we were there when the democracy was being introduced on the scene. So we have enjoyed democracy. Democracy is a rule by the people, for the people, and by the people. So it is all about the people. It has nothing to do with the government. The government has no role in democracy. The only role that the government has in democracy is to ensure that it is allowed to flow. Democracy must be experienced by the common Zambians, by everyone. But that is what President Hakainde Hichilema and his government are determined to choke. They don't care the consequences that may come. They don't have any reason to love this country. They want to do everything that they are doing as long as they think it makes them feel comfortable and makes them feel powerful and in charge. It's very unfortunate. But I believe that PF is going to navigate the issue of the convention, and they'll find a vehicle that they'll use to go to the convention and migrate the PF structure. No, not only the structure, the supporters or sympathizers. The PF structure is not too big. At provincial level, you have 24 people. Okay. At district level, you have 24. At constituency level, you have 24. At ward level, you have 24. Okay? We have 10 provinces. So, taking it that all the structures in those groupings are intact, you're talking about less than 5,000 people, maybe. But this nation doesn't have 5,000 as majorities. If the 5,000 people vote for you and become president, no. President Lungu won by lost with 1.80 million votes to his side. Yes. His counterpart or his predecessor, he got 2.8. So if you look at the gap, it was 1 million. If you look at the difference between the second best, which is PF, and the third, which was DP, the party where Calabar was then, yes. He had about 20,000 plus votes. So if you look at the difference between PF and UPND, and the difference between DP, that was led by Calabar at that time, and the PF, you realize that even if all opposition were to form political parties and run for presidency, they will not have much impact on the deciding the victory of the country, because most of them, the numbers that they pull is nothing. It's equal to zero. Some of them ma 0 point something. Others ma 1 point something. Now you cannot boast that you are causing upset to the trajectory of politics by having such numbers when the winner has too much difference of 1 million. And because when you look at 1.8 and 20,000 by the third person that came third, it is a lot of votes. It's almost 1.7 something votes. So for me, I think that as we move forward, the opposition leaders must begin to think national, must have a bigger picture about how they intend to run their political parties. Because if the oppositions, those other small political parties, were to work together with another political party that is a bigger political party, their contribution might escalate numbers so that the PF or any other political party that they might choose to use become victorious, whereby individually they will do very little, because they will have to go and campaign across the country. But when they work through a political party that has got a base and is closer to the winner, that will be what would help change the situation in the country.
So we are like 10 months to the elections, and the voter registration is going on. What do you have to say? Do we expect a huge turnout, or there will be reduction according to your assessment? Because a lot of people are saying this disunity in the opposition, the Zambian people have lost hope. They do not have faith that the opposition is going to regroup, unite, and forge ahead. What do you have to say about that?
We have actually not 10 months. We have less than 10 months.
Oh, it's less than, yeah.
Voter registration is going on, but the days are limited. You see, on one of the podcasts here, I raised concern. I said, I do not know what the politicians who sit with ECZ discuss. When ECZ sets 4 million as a targeted votes across the country, they must go beyond that to state how much they are targeting per province. Because you do not want a president to come from one, to be voted by one province or two. That is chaos. You need a president that will be voted across the country, meaning you have to balance the voter registration.
That's true.
I have not heard one politician argue that with ECZ to say the 3.5 million you have set as a target across the country, how much are you allocating to each province? You allocate numbers to a province based on the statistics that you have at Zamstat. Why? Because you know, if Copperbelt has 5 million people, Northern Province has 1 million people, you cannot set the same target. The same target for Copperbelt can't apply to the target in Northern Province because of the ratios.
Yes.
So those that are setting the target for the voters they expect must look at provincial distribution. When they distribute voter registration according to provinces and they set targets per province, you are able to hold accountable those that are being sent in provinces, so you cannot leave before you have met your target. But they go to provinces and they spend 5 days lazing around, pretending, no, there is no this material, there is no this, there is no ink, there is no this, while other provinces are registering without disturbances. And tomorrow they wake up and say, we have got 3.5 million votes. Look at the statistics per province, you discover that 1 or 2 provinces have 3 million. What is the point of election? What is democracy? How is it that you are interested in seeing to read that the majority of the Zambian people, votes for the candidate that they want? It is very unfortunate. We hope that the opposition will regroup even after voter registration has been completed. They will regroup and choose a formidable candidate that can face President Hichilema head on and do the right thing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chanda, for coming through. Yeah, moving on, we've seen, I really wanted to go back to the funeral part, where Honorable Makebi is being held accountable for the delayment of the funeral and the failure of the burial to take place. And then they're saying is using the body to campaign for presidents, whilst the burial has not taken place. What do you have to say about that? I know you and Honorable, you're good friends. What do you have to say over that?
First of all, what I'll say is that it is unthinkable and it is shameful that you can have people even go to that length to suggest that. What I can tell you is that it is the opponent of PF and opponent of Makebi Zulu that are saying that. I do not think Makebi's role in that funeral has anything to do to go by him wanting to use the funeral or take advantage of anything. First of all, when President Lungu was alive, he trusted 2 people to go with him, aside the ADC and the family. He picked Honorable Makebi Zulu and Honorable Musukwa. Those are the people that ensured the president exited the country to help him access medical care the day that the UN were coming here in the country. Okay. So, at that time, was it any important to realize that President Lungu picked Honorable Makebi Zulu and Honorable Musukwa to go with him? First of all, who was Makebi Zulu to President Lungu? He was his lawyer and family lawyer. He left with him out of the country to seek medical attention. And he was there for a period of time, I think 4 months. And for your own information, by the time President Lungu was getting into the procedure that resulted in his death, Makebi Zulu was in Zambia. He had come back. He had other illegal issues to attend to. He had clients. He was appearing in court representing people. And I think the communication came to him hours before the situation happened, that he needed to get back to South Africa. And he left in the early morning of that day, on the 5th of June. So for anybody to say that Makebi is using a body to campaign to his advantage, how? You already worked with a man in his life. You already stood with a man in his life. The man already trusted him as someone that can preside over matters that have to do with his legal issues and the family. He did that in his life. So how does someone say someone is using the body to campaign? How is he using the body to campaign? Or those that are saying he's using the body to campaign, if they are coming from the ruling party, why don't they withdraw the case from court and let the body be buried so that no one is taking advantage of it? That matter has nothing to do with Makebi Zulu or the family. That has to do with President Hakainde Hichilema's arrogancy and determination to punish President Lungu in his death. Consequences for that abound. That grief that the family is going through is not pretended grief. It is real. That woman is a widow. The Bible is very clear in Exodus 22:22. Said, if you take advantage of the widow or the orphans, and they cry to me, I will hear their cry, and I will strike you with a sword. Your wives will become widows. Your children will become orphans. When a widow cries, that goes directly to God. And mocking a family that is grieving is most unfortunate. It is something that I fail to fathom, and I pray that one day those that are doing that are going to regret for the rest of their life, because there are certain things that you might be doing and they are not receiving consequences. It doesn't mean that consequences are not bound. Consequences will be there for that actions. So to suggest that he's using, I don't know how he's using the body, because if I'm going to support Makebi Zulu, like which I've said, that I'm going to support him, I believe in his character. I was introduced to him by the former president. Okay. I think he had given me an assignment out of town. So when I arrived, it was a little bit late. Then he said, okay, come on, you are a lawyer. I had not known Makebi at personal level. So we knew each other as a colleague in PF. But at personal level, it was on that very moment when the boss said, go and come on, you are a lawyer. I went to meet him. I think I went out of town, one of the provinces around. There was some feedback that he needed from the structure. So he said, go and see. When I went to Makebi Zulu's law firm for the very first time, I found that they had a meeting with the Honorable Mundubire, Honorable Kafuaya, Honorable Nakachinda, and himself. They had a meeting, I think, in that office. So I sat outside waiting until I went in and I saw him and we talked. Then I realized that there's a reason why the boss wanted me to have that rapport with the lawyer. Because I think Makebi, in that particular instance, when I went to meet him, I realized something about him. He's a very listening person. He will sit, listen to you. And when he's engaging you, many people say he subjects you to cross-examination. But he's just very steady when he's dealing with you. But what I've come to learn over the time dealing with him, with the boss, is that he's a firm person. He's one person that will not shift goalposts. Today you discuss something now, and then you go to sleep. Tomorrow he wakes up, he decides to do anything else. If he gives you your word, he has given you your words. And the very thing that has happened over the funeral explains to that character that I'm talking about. To be a president in this dispensation, with the principalities that we are facing, you need a person that is firm. You need a person that knows why they should be president. You need a person who wants to be president. You need a person who understands the value of justice, a person who understands the value of constitutionalism, a person who understands why the rule of law must be upheld. Because what has gone wrong in this country, many people are making this argument. It's not about development. It's not about all those things. What has gone wrong is the non-adherence to the rule of law. That is what has caused all these things to happen. The reputation that we have lost as a country over time for the past 4 years is because of the behavior of government. So when you have people argue, I want to be president, listen to them. You're not going to just talk about poverty. You're not going to just talk about load shedding. There is something that has caused all these things to happen. Non-adherence to rule of law and constitutionalism. If the police were following the law, the people that are in prison today wouldn't be in prison. Look at this, for example. Bowman. Bowman touched a lot of lives. I'll tell you that political cases don't end in conviction and you go to jail and serve. No. The situation that happens when it comes to political cases are that people eventually resolve. President Hakainde Hichilema was sent to Mukobeko. Many people thought he committed treason. But that was a political issue, you understand? So it ended how it was expected, you understand? President Hakainde Hichilema had a lot of cases while he was in opposition. It tells you that I was incarcerated many times. Why? He was not incarcerated because people wanted just to pick him and put him in custody. No. He committed crimes that were suspected to have had ground of prosecution. And he was arrested and taken to police cases. Some of the cases he won. Some of them, they were not concluded. Some of them he was on nolle prosecutor. It's because the government that was there then believed in the rule of law. Cadarism cannot be attributed to non-adherence to the rule of law. It was failure by police to discipline those drunkards. Some of us were vocal about cadarism, but when you talk about abuse of the law in this particular instance, you are talking about a member of parliament losing a case, a seat, on the same case where another person is just made to pay a fine. Okay? So that is because the government that is in place has no respect for the rule of law. Constitutionalism is what limits the powers of government and its officials.
Okay.
They have a limit. There is a place they cannot cross. That is constitutionalism. The rule of law is fair dispensing the law fairly, ensuring that everyone is equal before the law, that no one is above the law, that every citizen and every government officials are answerable to the law. That is the rule of law. You cannot imprison one person from the opposition for the same case that you have not even dared to arrest the one who is on the side of the ruling. Or if you arrest them, you find them on the opposition, you throw them in prison. That is what has gone wrong. That's the first thing. So you need a president that's going to understand what has gone wrong. The situation in the country is not okay. And we need people that are determined, people that are firm. We are being ruled by square pegs in round holes. In other words, by misfits. You do not want other square pegs in round holes to take over from President Hakainde Hichilema. That would be unfair for the Zambian people. That's what I can say about that.
Okay, before we conclude, do you see the opposition emerging victorious in the next coming elections?
I have seen two crucial elections in my life. 2011 elections and the 2021 elections. I am not naive. I'm not stupid. I can be anything else, but I'm not stupid.
Okay. Somebody
was going to tell you that there's no wind of change. Yes, that is in their figment of imagination. I've seen what precedes government change. Okay. I've seen acts that precedes change of government in two instances. In both instances, I have seen presidents determined to hold on to power, and they just didn't succeed. Rupiah Banda was determined to hold on to power. May he so rest in peace. Rupiah Banda recruited over 11 generals and colonels in this, retired in these institutions. Because I'm sure he saw the wind and he needed loyalty. Because in his head, in his figment of imagination, he had some Mingalatos wanted to play to hold on to power. When Sata won the elections, he warned the secretary to the cabinet, Mr. Kanganja, to say, as a secretary to the cabinet, you are supposed to advise me correctly, not advise me to do illegal things. You allowed RB to recruit generals, 18 generals and colonels in the army, when you know that was illegal, and those were fired. The videos are there where Sata was warning the secretary to the cabinet. So why was Arabi doing that? He was making state progress to ensure that he has a hold on the elections even after. But what you must know, in this country, we have jailed, we have arrested and jailed army generals, air force commanders, intelligence chiefs have been arrested before. We have had judges arrested and jailed. We have had presidents arrested. You understand? So in Zambia, no one is above the law.
That's true.
So Chiluba was a former president. He was arrested. Former President Lungu, his wife, his children were arrested. Okay? We have seen judges be arrested and lawyers and jailed. So in this country, no one should be funny because they have a position. This country operates on the rule of law. No one is above the law, including the sitting president. The powers that Hichilema has today are the powers that all the 6 presidents had. The only power he had that they didn't have is to abuse the law. The other presidents were very scared of abusing the law. President Hichilema confessed in public that where he comes from, they don't fear anything. He was told not to fear anything. That was exactly a reflection of what he's doing today. So, when you talk about what is going to happen, do I see opposition taking over? Yes, I see it clearly and vividly. I operate from a divine sense. I understand exactly what has gone wrong. And I know that when a man is about to fall, pride takes presidency. When a man is about to fall, he has to feel larger than life. He has to look down on anybody. And that's the time when God arises. When you take the position of God, you become a God, where even people who are supposed to tame your behavior are afraid of you. They sit on their tails. Head of state institutions sitting on their tails, failing to go to the president and say, Mr. President, these acts by your people or by yourself have the potential to slide us into chaos. Let's do this. No one is doing that. President Lungu many times came to the media and said, as a president, there are things you'd want to do, but systems will just tell you, no, this can't be. And you agree, you obey, because they are telling you that in the interest of the country, it's peace and security. This, Mr. President, you can't do. This, you can't do. And when you look at those things, you say, okay, they have a point. That is how you rule a country. But when you have a president that even goes to say, I hate it when people want to follow procedure instead of paying attention to the outcome. What does that mean? He thinks that civil servants must ignore government procedure and only do things that are guaranteeing a certain outcome. You understand? So now when he says that, what does that mean? He's asking civil servants to go against government procedure. There's a reason why procedure is important in government. We have a case in our country where our sister, our mother and sister, Madam Emmeline Kabanji, went to save prison sentence. She did not steal money for social cash transfer for the aged. No, she didn't. Okay. She did not follow procedure. That is called procedural impropriety. She went to jail. Then you have an entire president saying, I don't like it when, it hurts me when people want to stick to procedures, when they should pay attention to outcomes. It tells you that he is very much determined to ensure that all the people that he has appointed goes against procedure to make him president. That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Government will change. And it's unfortunate that government changes and we might go into this cycle of arrest and all that. I pray that we elect a person that will heal the country and unite the country as one. Yes, those that have committed glaring crimes must be prosecuted. That we will endorse. That will ensure it happens. But to suggest that government will not change, it is not possible. In 2011, government changed. Sata became president while he was announced president, while the Shangombo was voting, where every time Sata lost power, lost elections, he was beaten from Shangombo. But that particular time, 2011, he was declared winner while the Shangombo which used to disadvantage him, was voting. Because anyone who registered to vote in Shangomo in that particular area, even if they voted for Arabi, they were not going to match with what Sata got. That's why I was declared a winner. In 2021, it was the same scenario. You saw the crowds. PF would have thugs go and walk in the streets of Lusaka, a sea of people, walking, and you start wondering, intimidating the opposition that we are in charge. PF used to do that. Yes. The rallies that PF had were massive. No rally, President Chilema didn't have any rally that beat the crowds of PF. Okay? So it tells you that when government is changing, what you are seeing is different from what comes out of the ballot. There are institutions that you know it is criminal to swim against current. If the people are going right and you know that the people are going right, as a head of any institution, it is criminal to go against the people. So if the people of Zambia wants to change government, President Hichilema must prepare to leave office. President Hichilema must envision a country where his grandchildren and great-grandchildren must live peacefully in a country called Zambia. If they are privileged to live abroad, they must still be proud wherever they are that peaceful country that you see, my grandfather or my great-grandfather led it. That is a legacy that he must leave. But to think that he must just be bulldozing his way in until victory, suppressing the freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, it will not help him. The moment he declares, he dissolves parliament, he's going to face the reality that every president has faced. He will face rebellion with the people that have not been have been listening to him. Some of them will not even pick his cause. I had interaction with President Lungu. I say, you know, when you are in State House and elections are going on, you just depend on people's words. This one tells you, no, if into future we are president, no, we are above board. We are doing these things. You get a phone to call someone, just want to ask, phone. But this is the person that a phone will just ring once. They pick, Mr. President. But that particular time, you have a lot of people not pick your call because they don't know what you want to say, because they have a feeling to say government might change and I need to align. So people begin to align, people in government begin to align secretly with the government they think, with the party they think is going to form government. So that is going to happen to President Hakainde Hichilema. But I pray that him and his wife, when they are not about presidency, when they retire from this decorated fake life of presidency, they go into reality in the house. They sit as husband and wife. I hope they will have such interaction to say your grandchildren must say, you led Zambia, a peaceful country, and led it into victory, whether you won or not, but it remained peaceful. That should be the conversation you should be having, because it's going to be out of power in 2026.
Thank you very much for coming through, Mr. Chanda. What do you have to say in conclusion, because we are now wrapping up?
What I can say is that I hope and pray that people will continue doing the voter registration and that our leaders from various political parties will continue to engage with ECZ so that they can explain to us how many voters have they set to target per province, and how long do they think they are going to meet that target. If they do that, that will be fine. Otherwise, thanks very much to the viewers, and I pray that we'll be together next time when we come.
Okay, thank you very much for watching us. You can catch us on Grindstone TV and on our Facebook page at Headlines with Headliner. You can as well follow Mr. Prince Chanda on his Facebook page at Prince Chanda. You can as well follow me at Shiba Musunga Ally. And for those who want to feature on this program or challenge Mr. Chanda, feel free to get in touch with us or inbox us at Headlines with Headliner. We'll get in touch with you. Thank you very much for watching. Have a blessed night.